Good morning, tubers of the RC Universe. Welcome to RC Heli-Check UK for another episode. We are looking at episode 1, part 2 of the mini series of helicopters. The last video you saw me build a 450 up with a 5-blade rotor head from a combination of parts of lots of 450s basically. But anyway, in this video we're going to be looking at setting up the Microbeast and also setting up the 5-blade head. Now, any of you that know how to set up multi-blade heads know that you need to do what they call phasing, and I'll explain how that's done. We've got to do that today, and hopefully we'll be able to test fly it. It's a lovely day here, there's no wind, it's freezing cold, so hopefully we can get this sorted and get it test flown, and then we can start working on the fuselage. So without further ado guys, let's get on with it, shall we? Right guys, first things first, we need to set up a new model in the transmitter. Now, most of them are pretty much the same, but when it comes to spectrum, the Microbeast with the spectrum is done like so. So you need to go into, I've already done this, but I'm just going to show you what I do, what you have to do. First of all, make sure that all your pitch curves and your throttle curves are in linear, which they should be anyway because you've not done anything. So you go to your main screen, go into system setup, confirm, are you sure? Yes, click yes, and then model select. In this case you'd go new model, but as you can see I've already created it down here, 450-500 choose, and then you'll go through the rigmarole of typing it in and all that, and then selecting it, making sure it's on helicopter, blah 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 blah, and then once that's done and you enter, you then go to model type, set that as helicopter, swash plate type. Now in this, for a Microbeast, you just go to normal, select normal, and then go back, and then you do your flight mode setups according to how you like them on your transmitters. I have my hold switch on the back right stick and my throttle curves from normal idle up 1 and idle up 2 on the left front switch, which is switch H. And then that's it basically. You go back to that and then go into your main screen, hold mode, and then you go down to your gyro and select whatever switch you want. I have my gyro settings on switch D like so, and then when you like highlight it and selected it, you've got gyro positions. For me, standard, I usually tend to go basically 25, 35 and 45 as a base starting point. These are all positive, not negative, all positive start points. And then you've got 4 different gyro settings that you can, 3 different gyro settings that you can flick through according to how your tail is. It could be twitchy and whatnot, you might need to increase it or decrease it. If you increase it to the maximum and it still does it but it's got less, then increase it more, and if you are down on the minimum and you have to decrease it, then go less again, but do it in increments of 5%. So that then is now set on that switch, which is switch D for me. So 0, position 1 and position 2 gives me 3 different gyro settings. That is basically it for setting up your transmitter when it comes to doing a Microbeast. So now that's all done, we can now go over to the helicopter and start setting up the Microbeast. Now I'm not going to lie to you guys, this is going to be a nightmare because I've already been having problems trying to get the phasing done on this model, but we'll get the swash plate set up like you would normally do with a 2-blade head, and then we'll tackle the phasing side of it once we've got that all sorted out. So anyway, let's crack on. Right guys, I don't know how well the camera's going to pick this up, but I've tried to get it as close as I possibly can without it being too blurred, just to give you an idea of what they're going to do. So you turn your transmitter on and then plug in your battery, let everything do what it's supposed to. you'll see the flybarless going through its phase, and you'll hear the ESC going through its count. There we go, that's now active. Just let the ESC finish doing its thing. Each one of those beeps that you can hear on the ESC are basically telling me what programming mode that it's in. And the last 3 beeps that you just heard are basically to say that the governor is active on the flybarless, on the ESC. Anyway, right, so to start this off, you literally have to go into programming mode, and how you do that is you press and hold the button down, and you'll see the light turn solid. You see how that's gone solid there? Look, that light there, that means that it's now in programming mode and it is on menu A. Menu A basically is to select the orientation of your Microbeast. So each light represents a certain way that you've got it. You can either have it facing forward or facing backwards. You can't have it facing sideways. It's either got to be forward or facing the nose or facing the tail, basically. So what you're going to do now is to see where your orientation is. In the manual on the Microbeast, it tells you like what light represents what orientation the model, the flybarless system is. Now in my case, I've got the large socket with all the plugs pointing to the tail, and the LED is red, which is basically what it should be for being in the upright position. If you have it mounted on your side, the LED should be blue. If you have it inverted, it should be blue. And again, if you have it on its side with the sticker facing that way, then it should be red or blue flashing. But we've got it on red solid, so that means we've got it in the right orientation. And then next you've got menu, basically B, C and D are all like one after the other on the same menu, and they're all to do with your Swash Plate rates and whatnot, and your rudder servo pulse width and whatnot. So you then press the button again. Let's see if I can do it with that. Get it in there. I've got fat fingers. Get in. Right, press it once. There we go. We're on menu B. Now menu B basically is your Swash Plate update rate. Now for the servos that I've got, they need to be 200 Hertz, which is solid blue, and as you can see it is on solid blue. If they were 50 Hertz it would be purple, flashing red. You need it for 65 Hertz. If it is 120 Hertz it would be solid red or flashing blue, and solid blue is for 200 Hertz, and that's what these servos are, 200 Hertz. So from there we go now to menu C, which is basically your rudder servo pulse width, and in my case the servo is a 1520 and it should be blue solid, which it is. And you've got 2 other options, 760 which is purple and 960 which is red, both solid. But for me, with it being 1520, it needs to be blue solid, which it is. And then you go to D, and that is your rudder update rate. And again, mine is 333 Hertz, and you've got 5 different menus. You've got purple for 50 Hertz, red flashing for 120 Hertz, red solid for 270 Hertz, blue flashing for 333 Hertz, and blue solid for 560. The rudder rate on mine is 333 Hertz, so it needs to be blue flashing, which as you can see it is flashing blue. So on to menu point E. Now the menu for E is your rudder servo limit, and basically what you need to do is get your, let's see if I can do this. Hold on. Right, you get your transmitter. Now I fly mode 1, so my rudder and my elevator are on this servo, on this side, sorry, and my aileron and throttle and pitch are on this side. So for rudder, what you need to do in menu point E is to work out the servo limits, and how you do that is you move your servo over and you look at this thing here in the middle, and you basically move that until it reaches its maximum point, and then let it go. And then the flybarless unit, I wasn't quick enough, will flash, and then it'll settle once it remembers it. I'll go the other way and I'll leave it on the actual flybarless so you can see. So I'm moving the servo over the other way, maximum endpoint, come back a bit, you'll see it flash, and then it stores it. And that is basically how you do the rudder. And like I say, to do it, you move your rudder stick, and when this point reaches its maximum without it binding, you let the servo go. Make sure you hold the rudder stick all the way over. Don't hold it part of the way over so it goes over slowly. You've got to hold the rudder all the way over, and then wait for it to go over slowly until its maximum point, and then as soon as it touches the actual tip here, then let the stick go, and then do the same, so that this point here, when you go the other way, when it meets that bit there and stops without it fouling the servo, you let it go again. If the servo starts to buzz, then just move it back a little tiny bit to stop it from buzzing, and then again the Microbeast will flash and save the actual point itself. And that is it for E. Now just bear with me a minute, guys. Right guys, for menu F, once you've selected that, that is basically your rudder direction. And I've got my transmitter and the tail rotor servo pointing at the camera so you can see how it is done. So basically what you need to do, and how I always make sure that mine's going in the right direction, is always, you've got to remember, right stick, left slider, left stick, right slider. So when I move the stick all the way over to the right, the slider here should move all the way to the left, and then when I move the stick all the way over to the left, that slider should move all the way over to the right. So I'll go right first, and as you can see, it's going to the right, so that is actually the wrong way around. And if I go to the left, it's going to the left. So to correct that, all you literally do is go into your transmitter, into your servo settings, to the reverse settings, and then select reverse on your rudder. And as you'll see now, I'm going to move a stick to the right, the slider should go to the left, as it does. There you go. And then go to the left, it should go to the right. See? That's basically how you do your servo, setting up your direction on your tail rotor to make sure that it's going the right way. Pretty simple, not rocket science, and quite easy to do. The next thing you need to do is to set the rudder direction of the Microbeast gyro. You need to move the rudder stick over to the right. This is still on menu F, by the way. So let's move this back over here so you can hopefully let's get down. We're still on menu F. Now, as you can see, there is stay. Shouldn't be doing this really without it being secure, but it's the only way I can do this. So you need to set the rudder direction of the Microbeast gyro, and when you move the rudder stick to the right, the status LED must light up blue. So if I move the rudder stick to the right, you can see it's blue, or flash blue, and when you move the rudder stick to the left, it should light up or flash red in colour, and as you can see, it does. So that means that the gyro sensor inside the Microbeast is the right way around as well. So when you start it up, if you had it the other way around, if you put left stick in, your tail's going to go wee round and round in circles. So yeah, if when you start it up, suddenly your tail rotor starts spinning around on its axis, it's because your gyro sensor is the wrong way around in that. So that is menu point F. Right, menu G is your Swash Plate mixing type. Now you've got, when it says mixing type, you've got 5 different mixing types for your Swash Plate. You can have it as a mechanical, which will be a purple light. Flashing red is at 90 degrees, solid red is 120, flashing blue is 140, and blue solid is 135 to 130 to 141 to 1. Now in my case, I have got a 120 degree Swash Plate, so it means that basically when you look down from the top, the ball links on the Swash Plate are 120 degrees. so that needs to be red solid, which as you can see there, it is a red solid light. So that bit there is correct. And then you need to make sure, by the way, when you're on this bit, that say for 120 degrees, each point on the swash plate will depict a certain servo. So for example, channel 1, which is your elevator, will go to there. Channel 2, which is your aileron, will go to that one, and then channel 3, which is your pitch, will go to that ball link there. So it's 1, 2 and then 3. If you get it set up like that, then everything else should fall into place. Yeah. Right, menu H is your swash plate servo direction. Basically you need to move the pitch or thrust stick and check whether all the turbos on the swash plate go up and down simultaneously. If it doesn't, then by tapping the rudder, the rudder stick, you can select one servo after another. Every colour of the status LED is corresponding to a specific servo channel that is indicating its selection by a short up and down move. So you then tap the aileron once when you select each servo, and it reverses the direction. You don't do this in your transmitter, you do it via the Microbeast. You then tap the servo aileron, sorry, and it reverses the servo that it is on. So you keep doing this and going backwards and forwards until you've got all three servos corresponding and moving simultaneously. Now let me just move that there. Stay. Right, so in this case, if I go up and down, oh hang on a minute, that's not very clever, is it? Hold mode, there we go. Right, so if I move my thrust stick all the way up, you'll see that the pitch and the aileron servos are moving, but the elevator servos are the wrong way round. So the elevator servo is purple. So if I hit the aileron stick once and now do it, there we go, they're all going the right way, look. So literally just one movement was all I had to do. So yeah, I mean, if say you were doing it and the elevator and the pitch servo were going up and down but the aileron wasn't, you would move the rudder stick and select whichever channel it is, and you'll know which one it is because each time you select a servo, it moves, it goes, and then you do the next one, it goes, and then that one, and it goes. So you go around until you want the servo reversing that you want, and then you just hit the aileron stick opposite, which will reverse the direction, and then that way it should move up and down like I've done. Now you're looking at the swash plate and going, swash plate, healthy cock. Yeah, that's because we've not got to that bit yet, and the chances are we are going to have to change that because we are using a 5-blade rotor head. We're going to have to do some mixing shenanigans to get the phasing right. I'll explain all that when I get to it because I need to work it up myself. So anyway, so right, once that has done, you then set the swash plate control directions, and you move the sticks for the aileron and elevator and on the radio, and check whether the swash plate is moving in the correct direction on the helicopter. If they're not, then you just go into your transmitter for that, and then you reverse the irrelevant channels. So aileron, wrong, that's not right. What's that doing? You know what, I'm a knob because I've not changed the menu. Luckily it's still on what it should be. There we go, stupid boy. So now move the elevator pitch forward, and it's going forward, back, it's going back. Aileron left, it's going the wrong way. Aileron right, see it's going the wrong way, look. So left aileron is moving the swash plate right. So I need to go into the reverse servo setup menu, select reverse, and then select aileron and reverse the stick, and then if I move the stick to the left again, the swash plate goes to the left. So that is now the right way. Left aileron, right aileron, forward pitch, backward pitch, so they're when I go in the right direction. So I can come out of that now on my transmitter so I don't knock it. And then once you've done that, when it moves correctly, you've got to set the internal control direction of the bike and the gyro. and the way that you do that is you push the elevator forward and steer aileron to the right. So you go forward elevator and right aileron excuse me, and the status LED must light blue in colour. If it doesn't, then you tap the rudder stick so that is the case. So if I move forward elevator and right aileron, you can see that it is, you can hardly see it. I didn't move this back down, did I? Nope. Right, so forward elevator and right aileron, it is flashing purple. So alias status is wrong if it's flashing purple. It needs to be blue. So if I now tap the rudder stick and try to gain, so I move the rudder stick to the left once, so now I go forward right aileron, it is still purple. Okay, now that's because it is mechanically set wrong. So just bear with me a minute guys while I take my jacket off because it's getting warm in here. Right, that's better. I can stop sweating now. Right, there's 4 possible options and only one of them is correct. You always set the control directions in the transmitter first, then check the display of the Microbeast or in the software to change the internal direction. If it doesn't match the real direction, then you've got to be careful here, as it teaches the control directions to the system. When the directions are not set correctly, the system will move the helicopter in the wrong direction, which will result in disaster. So like we say, forward elevator and right aileron, it indicates red. So now if I tap the rudder stick once, do it again, forward elevator, right aileron, now it is blue, or blue flashing. Okay, so that means now that the internal control direction of the Microbeast gyro is the right way. So like I say, once again, to make sure that the internal control is correct, you got to push elevator forward all the way and aileron to the right all the way, and that must light blue or flash blue in colour. If it doesn't, then tap the rudder stick once and do it again. It'll come up a different colour probably, but just keep on going until it is blue. Once it's blue, then you know that the sensor direction in the gyro is set as it should be. Right guys, next menu is J. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4 more menus to go, including this one. And J is what you use to trim the centre of the servos to 90 degrees. Now, like I say, on anything that you do with the head, each channel is represented by a certain colour. Channel 1, which is your elevator, is purple. Channel 2, which is your aileron, is red. And channel 3, which is your pitch, is blue. And you have to select each servo by tapping the rudder stick either left or right, and it'll swap between servos. And when you move the aileron stick to adjust the servo center positions. So let's start off with that one, because you can see it physically. That one is the pitch, and then we use the aileron stick, and if I move the aileron stick left or right, you see how it climbs or goes down. You basically use your aileron stick and eye it up so that your servo is at 90 degrees. And then you do the same thing by selecting the next servo, which in this case is the pitch, and then do it again, and the same with the aileron servo. I won't do all 3 of them on the camera, it's pointless, but you get the gist of it. So I'll get that sorted and I'll come back to you. Right guys, took the head off just to go back to basics, basically. When you've got a multi-blade head, whether it be a 4 or a 5 or a 3 blade head, you've got a swash plate grip here, which stops the swash plate and the rotor head accelerating away from each other. Now depending on which way your rotor head's going, in my case I'm going counterclockwise, so it means that the links from the control arms on the rotor head are going to be coming down towards the nose of the helicopter each way around. So if you can see on that there, see that bracket, see how that is angled that way? You need to make sure that you have that angled in that direction, because if you don't, if it's the other way around, you'll have your arms crossing over the front of it and they'll be fouling up. Now mine's that way around because I've got a counterclockwise rotating head. If it was a normal clockwise rotating head, then you would basically undo this, flip it over and flip that over the other way, so that then that side is this side basically, so that your arms, again, they're always forward of your blade rotation. So get that bit set up first before you put your head together. Don't do this bit up, clip your ball link on, but leave that bit loose, because you need this loose for you to do the phasing I'll get my words out in a minute, on the rotor head. Okay guys, so let's get it back together. Right, excuse me. Right, now that we've got rotor head back on, I'm going to show you how you do the phasing. Now, a lot of people are phased by it. See what I did there? A lot of people can be a little bit about doing this, but it's actually pretty straightforward. This applies to a 3-blade, a 4-blade, or a 5-blade rotor head. To set your phasing, to make sure that everything is how it should be, basically, excuse me, for this 5-blade rotor head, I'm going to show you what I've done. You can see there that I've marked this blade here with a little bit of white marker paint. That is my datum blade, as I call it. That's the blade that I reference off everything else. Now, because I'm going counterclockwise in rotation, the arms need to be pointing to the back of the tail, okay? These arms here I'm talking about. And then, oops, twat, hit the camera. And then what you've got to do then is move this blade that you've marked up 90 degrees to the boom, okay? Now, because it's a left-hand rotating rotor head, we need to do it on the left-hand side. If it was a clockwise rotating rotor head, you'd do it on... Shut up, bitch. You'd do it on the right side, okay? So because it's a left clockwise, anti-clockwise rotating, you do it on the right. So you get the blade that you've marked and you put it 90 degrees to your boom. Okay, I've got to try and do this now by looking, come on, the automatic, there we go. Right, if you see there, the blade here is 90 degrees to the boom, okay? Now you do that, and then basically this control link here has to be 90 degrees to this blade. So you would basically have that link there go down to where the Swash Plate anti-rotation bracket pin is. Alright, so it is 90 degrees. Yes, that is loose because I've still got to thread lock all this. So 90 degrees to there. So that arm would then go there to here, okay? So then basically all the others will follow suit. So you'll undo your anti-rotation bracket that we swapped over earlier on just, and you'll then, once you've got that set and you've got that roughly in the middle, it's not in the middle at the moment because I've moved the blade, there we go. Once you've got that in the middle and this at 90 degrees, you can then tighten up your anti-rotation bracket, and then all the other blades will follow in suit. Now, to show you that it has worked, if I put, let's see if I can get on the blade here. My battery's getting a bit low, I need to change my battery in a minute. Right, so if I do elevator now, if I move the elevator stick forward, you should see the trailing edge tip back. There you go, see? And then vice versa. Back, tips forward. Okay, now this is the first time I've done one of these, so I might have to have it the other way around because I'm doing anti-clockwise. I think if I go forward, the leading edge should tip forward. I'm not too sure yet, we'll find out. Suck it and see, jobby. Anyway, so if I move the aileron stick now, that should not move, or very hardly move. So you see, moving the aileron stick and it's hardly moving, but the other blades are. I'll show you the other blades. Look, you'll see. See how the other blades are moving when you move the aileron stick. You come back to this one, which is your elevator stick, and you move it. It's hardly moving. That's how it should be. Now, if I rotate the head round so that this blade is now parallel with tail, as it is. Hang on a second. What have I got my pitch on? I'm full positive, you idiot. No wonder it was there. Right, so yeah, now if I have that elevator blade that was here, which did not move, and now put it along the boom, if I hit, oops, if I hit elevator now, up and down, it shouldn't move. See how it's not moving? That's elevator up and down, but if you look at the other blades now, oh god, this is awkward. See how they're moving? But if I come back to this blade, that's parallel along the boom, if I move the aileron stick now, it will move. There you go. That is basically how you set your phasing. That is all you need to do. Now, like I say, your 90-degree blade dictates as to whichever way your rotor head's going. In my case, the rotor head is anti-clockwise, so it needs to be on the left hand side, 90 degrees to the boom, and then that arm there needs to be at 90 degrees, so it should come down to your pin. Like I say, if you've got a clockwise rotating one, you need to put your blade on this side, and it needs to be 90 degrees down this way to the pin. All right, and then like I say, once you move that blade to the back, you'll know if you've got it right, because when you move the elevator stick, that should not move. And that's it. That's basically how you do it. Now, with that done, we can carry on setting up the Microbeast. And what I've got to do now is set all the pitch to 0 on all the blades. Now, we know we've got the phasing right, so that bit is effectively, we don't need to touch that anymore now. So let me just reposition the camera, and I'm going to turn the helicopter back round so it's side on to me, and I'm going to make sure that all the blades have got 0 degrees of pitch at mid stick. In menu J, I think it was we were on. Was it J? I think it was J. Yeah, so let me just move the camera and get that all set up, and then I'll come back to you. Actually, I'm going to change my battery because my battery's nearly dead. Right guys, now we've got all that sorted, get a swash plate, not swash plate, pillock, pitch gauge, set it to 0, set it to 0, there we go, 0 degrees. I'm going to start off with the same blade that we used as our initial datum line, put it on top, on top. I can't see, there we go, sit that there, right, and we're at positive 2.6 degrees, so we've got to come out, I believe, yeah, we've got to come out a couple of turns, do it from the top one because the top one has got the least amount of thread showing, as in none. There goes the blade. Where's me? So screw it out one turn, one complete turn, like so. Plonk it back in. 0.4 degrees. That will do. So I've got to go around now and do all the blades, get them all roughly around about 0.3, 0.4 degrees. That way then when it comes to the blade tracking, it should be fine. So I'll get all that sorted and then I'll come back to you when it's done. Right, now we are in menu K, guys, and that one is to set up the Swash Plate Servo Throw. And to do K, we must put one of the booms, the rotor blades, parallel with the boom like you see I've got here, with a swash plate on it. And then on menu K, you'll have no coloured LEDs showing on the on the flight controller, and then you have to tap the rudder stick, either left or right, doesn't make no difference, to put it into the measuring position. So if I do that there, you see it's gone to 8 degrees, and then you use the aileron stick to increase or decrease it, making sure you go the right way. And it basically, you need to get it set at 6 degrees. You see it coming down? Too far. Back up a tad. A bit more. Touch more. A little bit more. Little nudge. That'll do. 6.1. Okay. And that basically, excuse me, it gives you the Microbeast a reference as to how far it needs to move the servo when controlling the model. So, and you set the throw, like I say, by putting one blade parallel along the boom. Oh bollocks! I mean, oh dear. Putting that along the boom. Oh, it's 6 degrees now. There you go. And then you hit the rudder switch and you'll see it move, and then you use the aileron stick left and right to increase or decrease it, whatever, and get it on 6 degrees. And then once that is done, we will then go to the collective pitch. So we need to go onto menu. Look, can I do it? Can I do it? Because I've got the blades on now, ain't I? Ow! There we go. Right. Basically, the collective pitch, you need to set the internal control first. You're going to move the thrust stick to the maximum positive pitch, so full pitch as we've got there, and the LED light must shine blue, where in my case it's not. So we need to, is it the rudder stick? Yeah, tap the rudder stick, and it should make it go blue. There it is, now it's blue. So that is basically the internal control direction of the Microbeast set. And then once that's done, you need to use the aileron stick to increase or decrease the amount of pitch that you want in your model's positive pitch. So we're going on this, I'm going to go for 10 degrees. Come down a bit. There we go. And then you put the stick all the way down to the bottom, and that should change that to red, flashing, which it is. And then you again adjust with your aileron stick to however you want it. I'm going to go 8 degrees negative. 8.9, 8.86, 3, 0. Oh, what a shot. There you go. And that is basically now your maximum positive and negative pitch set in the Microbeast. So you go flat out up to the top, you get, in my case, 10 positive degrees pitch, and all the way down the bottom you get 8 degrees negative. Finally, we do the Swash Plate Servo Limits, which is menu M. So if I go menu M, are we in M? Yeah, we're in menu M. Basically is oh, you just thought you can take the switch. Hang on a minute, guys. Let's move the camera because I don't need the swash plate, the pitch gauge. Hang on. Okay, guys. In menu M, we are now doing the servo limits on the rotor head. So you need to move your thrust, pitch, whatever you want to call it, throttle all the way to the top, and then move to maximum elevator either way and maximum aileron either way. Now you can increase or decrease the amount depending on whether they foul or not. So if I go, I'm at full pitch now, full aileron, I can use the rudder to increase it if I wanted to, or decrease it. So there we go. As long as that light stays blue, which it has, go the other way. Let's increase it, and again I'm going the wrong way. Okay, and then do full elevator. Now hear that fouling? I'm going to come back a bit. There we go. So now I've got full movement, full positive without any fouling, and I come all the way down to the bottom and then do the same for the bottom. So you'll go full negative, full aileron left and right, no fouling there, full elevator forward and back, no fouling there, and there we go. Right, so let's get it all lined back up on the table, and we'll just make sure that that phasing is still correct on the head. Right guys, so we've got our marked datum blade, our reference blade as I call it, 90 degrees to the boom. So if we do full forward elevator, you'll see that it moves backwards and forwards, and if we do full aileron left and right, it remains in place. And then if we put the blade parallel with the boom, we should now be able to do full elevator and it shouldn't move. There you go. And then if we do full aileron, it should. There we go. So all of our references and our phasing is complete on the head. And that's it. The Microbeast is all set up, the phasing's all done. It's just a case now of putting the turbos on, getting a battery mount mounted at the front of the helicopter for battery, and then tidying up all the wires, making sure they're all going, fixing the Microbeast down properly, getting the satellite receiver all plugged in place properly, and then going to test fly it. But let's have a look and see what it's doing outside. It's cold, and oh, doors open up, clubhouse. What's that doing there? Weren't me. Yeah, it's not too bad, but it's a bit windy. I don't really want to risk doing this in with a 5-blade rotor head in these conditions. Only a little helicopter. I might run it up down by the what's it here where there's no wind, and make sure the head's all reacting the way that it should and whatnot. But anyway, let's get it finished. Oh, looks a bit bleak out there, doesn't it? Let's get it finished off. Right guys, that's going to be it for part 2 of this video. We're going to go into 3 parts. Doing the Microbeast setup and the phasing and whatnot. It's made this video probably about half an hour, 45 minutes long. I'm trying to reduce the amount of time my videos last to around about 30 minutes, 40 minutes depending. So yeah, we are ready to go. Everything is all set up. Just got to check the tracking on the blades, make sure that the pitch is good. And then go out and test fly it. It's a little bit outside at the moment as well. I mean, it's starting, the sun's going down as well, the light's a bit crappy, and it's still a bit windy out there actually. It was calm earlier on, but the wind's picked up. So yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'll do some more, hopefully get it all test flown, and then we can start sorting out the fuselage and getting it put inside the fuselage and finished. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate your support. Click the old like, subscribe and the notification ding dong, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys.